My name is Anthony Parascandola. I'm a senior at St. Joseph's University. I'm a double major in international business and finance with a minor in Mandarin, and I took the IBU 210 course during my sophomore year. So going back to the IBU 210 course, um, before diving into our cross-cultural project, didn't really know what exactly to expect. Um, Typically, when going into team projects, uh, the main concern is how is the collaboration among all your teammates going to be? What are the strengths and weaknesses? So throwing in the element of working with international students was something that was going to be a new experience, to say the least. Originally, I thought that the biggest challenge was going to be language, being that everyone in my group at the time, I mean, for me, my basic skills were just in Mandarin, and I was hoping to work with the Chinese team, but being able to branch out and have to rely on English with our two Japanese students wasn't the hardest challenge after sitting in our first meeting. We were able to get our points across to some degree, but at the same time there was that lack of engagement or lack of involvement because there was much more to it. And I realized the substance that came out of that first meeting is really trying to understand their culture and open up to how we can understand their way of thinking from their end and our end, and you could see their interest as well. So I remember at the end of the first meeting, one of my teammates, Rachel, suggested that we do some kind of dinner at some sort, and since there's only Chinatown, there's no Japantown in the area, we decided that we're going to make an authentic meal. And we thought this, at the time wasn't going to really happen, but this was something that was really the added value that kept the ball going and helped us learn throughout this experience. So throughout this project, two of our international students from Japan took us to a Japanese supermarket. We bought everything for them, and they taught us the meaning behind the food, how to cook it, and it was such a groundbreaking experience that really exposed you beyond that 2D element where you'd be researching about Japanese culture within businesses, and really bringing that experience from the students itself that is almost what you would actually have in with a multinational corporation and working on an international project or a domestic project with international employees. And that's something that I really took away from it. And I saw as I studied abroad when I went to China that following summer. So without a doubt, the project that was incorporated into our IBU 210 course was academic for the sake of understanding the key concepts that came from looking at Porter's Five Forces, but also to being able to build that experience and to learn from not only within the members within your group, but expand it into working with international students. And even just today I was talking to one of my friends that's taking the course right now and working with students from Saudi Arabia. He's currently a senior, but he absolutely loves the project because something different that he hasn't done or been exposed to since he studied abroad in Europe. So definitely for the project itself, and I look forward to seeing the progression that it makes over the course of the years. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexis, and I am a senior here at St. Joe's University. I had the opportunity to take Professor Song's IBU 210 class 2 years ago, and the country that my group had, was Japan. So we had the opportunity to interact with the ELS students at St. Joe's University. We had two Japanese students in particular, and we got to really understand and get to know the way they do things from a cultural perspective, and we got to see what their opinion was about living in the United States. They were very excited to be working with us, so it was really a pleasure to interact with them. Some of the things we got to do was that we got to go to a Japanese market nearby St. Joe's University in a small town, and we went inside with them and we said, okay, let's have an authentic Japanese meal. So they went around, we went with them, around the store picking out certain things to cook for that night, and after they had decided what they wanted to make, we checked out, we went back to one of our teammates' apartments, and we got to interact and watch them cook a traditional, authentic Japanese meal. And during the process of this all, we had the opportunity to ask them some questions about what life is like in Japan. They said it was relatively similar. I mean, the technology, the infrastructure is there. But of course, there are some differences. Some of the things we learned from them was that Japan is a very collective society, very family-oriented, traditional, and they really do value their people. So just sometimes it's a little different than, you know, being in the United States, where we do put a lot of emphasis on the individual. So I would say the best part of this ELS cross-cultural project was just the fact that we got to interact with these students and really have a tangible hands-on opportunity with some Japanese students. What we also had the opportunity to do was talk to or Skype in with one of the Japanese students, their sister, in Japan. And that was a really great experience. We had a little bit of issues with the technology and the connection with Skype, and we had to make sure that time difference was okay. But we had the opportunity to interview her, so not only did we get a chance to interact with the Japanese students here in the United States, but also we got to see and hear from their relatives abroad, overseas. So overall, this was a really great experience, and it's a project I would definitely recommend people do, and something I will definitely always remember.